So Lionel Messi posts last night that he's at Banchero in my neighborhood getting a fugaza or some type of pizza or something like that. Most likely not with the team tonight.
Yeah, can we talk about the pizza first, though? Was it just straight up tomatoes and olives?
It's called fugaza. It's an Argentinian pizza where it's got
Okay.
like crust and then olives and tomatoes. And I guess he got sin queso, no cheese. I had it the other day. Lots of onions are in there too. So yeah, it's kind of a dry Argentinian pizza.
Yeah, it definitely made the rounds, and people I think were less talking about him not playing tonight and more talking about the pizza. But I guess we'll do the talking about not playing. Look, it was going to happen at some point. We kind of knew this with the SKC game. Obviously, he missed that. They got the win, and I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Tata was asked about life without Messi when these days come, and he said specifically there would be 3 games that Messi would not play. And when he said that, people were trying to figure out what the 3 games would be. The obvious one was SKC, and you look to October, and there's another international window, but nobody really knew what the third game was within that because just the math didn't math. I guess this is our answer. This is the game where they said, look, we got a stretch of 5 games to 15 days coming up. Let's give him this one off on the road, on turf, although he said he'd be okay playing on turf still. Probably better not to, I guess. And you got a home game Wednesday against Toronto. You got next Wednesday, the 27th, the Open Cup final. So if there was a chance to give him 2 full weeks off, which just gives him, why not? You got the rest of the guys there. For not for nothing, but this team, don't forget, played Atlanta earlier in the regular season. It was, I think, the first week of April before any of these guys arrived and beat Atlanta 2-1 at home. So they beat Atlanta before Messi. They kicked some Atlanta booty 4-0, I think it was, with Messi. And now we'll see what they do today.
So as an Inter Miami fan, no cause for concern, at least not right now.
No, not at all. I mean, the point that I've been trying to hammer home as much as possible, it's not just Messi. Like, obviously, he's the star. He is the focal point. But you're still going to have Busquets and Alba and Farias and Avilés. And I think, Gomez had a thigh injury when he was away with Paraguay, so I think he's up in the air. But you added 6 pieces, Messi being one of the 6. The other 5, maybe 4, depending on Gomez's health, are all still there in this game. And Martinez is back and Campana's there. So this is a team that is constructed, even without Messi, it'd probably be a top 3 seed in the East. With Messi, obviously, it takes it to new heights. But even without Messi, everything else they brought in, it's a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference, and they can still get the dub today.
But we do expect them to be there for the final, right? For the Gold Cup.
100%, 100%. That this was maybe kind of just making sure of that, if you will. Like he's got a game Wednesday night against Toronto, and then you've got that Open Cup game. So this was just making sure probably that he is 100% good to go for the Open Cup. He wants trophies. He's trying to get that treble after the Leagues Cup and the Open Cup. And now that they're creeping up the standings to make a push for MLS Cup, he'll be there. He'll be playing as long as he's healthy, and that'll be the one. It's going to be great to see the atmosphere that night, by the way. I mean, it was one thing to win the Leagues Cup on the road in Nashville, but to see that stadium rocking with a trophy in the house, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Joe Malfa, let's continue on with the Messi effect, not just his effect with the team on the field, but watching and listening to them against Sporting KC. They're a totally different team now that he's been with the team. What difference has he made intangibly and even tangibly with this team? Is it just the confidence? Do they play a different style? What has Messi brought that even when he's not with the team, they're still a top flight team in MLS?
You said it. It's the intangibles. It's the confidence. It's learning how to train every day. It's that winning mindset and mentality. All of that comes with him more than just what he's doing on the field. And it's infectious. I mean, you see the way the players are looking up to him. You saw in Cincinnati, guy went 120 minutes in extreme heat, and he was given the pep talk in the huddle going into the second extra time period. So it's infectious. It's rubbed off on everybody. And even when he's not there, there is an expectation now that trophies will come. And that maybe wasn't there under Phil Neville and earlier this year when the team was struggling. Now they expect to win every time, and they know that even when he's not there, they have to win in order to put themselves in a spot to make the playoffs and make a run at MLS Cup. They can't look at this and say, oh, Messi's not here. Let's take a day off. Let's let the level drop. Let's take a loss. No, because that loss might be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs because of the hole you dug yourselves earlier in the year. So it's raised the level of everybody mentally more than anything else.
Who has benefited from that?
Everybody.
I mean, I know the fans, everybody, but like just a specific player, because there's a couple players since he's been there that's just like, oh my gosh.
No, 100%. There's two guys that stick out the most in my mind. Leo Campana, of course, because the one thing he was lacking as a true number 9 was the service before Messi got here, and he's had plenty of it and has scored plenty of goals now because of it. And the other one might surprise some people. For me, it's DeAndre Yedlin. DeAndre Yedlin, I love him. Going back to my childhood, that 2014 World Cup, I was 15, 16 years old, and even going a little bit before that, that's when Yedlin kind of first broke onto the scene in Seattle. And when I was playing youth soccer and high school soccer, that was my position right back. So I gravitated toward him at a young age. So for a decade, I have loved DeAndre Yedlin. And it was paining me to watch him the first half of this year because he was a shell of himself, whether he had an injury that we didn't know about, whether he just didn't have the right mindset because of the team not being as good as it could be. Whatever the case was, he did not look like DeAndre Yedlin. And it kind of hurt me to watch that because that was my guy for a decade. Messi came and switch flipped again for Yedlin, where he looks like he did 5 years ago. And he looks like he did when he played in England and when he played in Turkey and when he played everywhere and was doing it at a high level. He's making those runs up and down the wing. He's getting the assist. He had the assist against SKC to Campana on that header goal. He looks like World Cup DeAndre Yedlin now, rather than the kind of shell of himself that he looked like earlier this year. And it's night and day. He had that game in Open Cup against Miami FC where he had that own goal and just things were not in sync for him. He is completely transformed back to the player he was. And again, as somebody who that's been my guy for a decade, it's been awesome to see. And when he raised the trophy for Leagues Cup with Messi, sharing the captain's armband, it's been all great to see what Yedlin has re-become after Messi has joined.
Another guy who's breathing a lot easier since Messi and friends came in town, Drake Callender. He was getting peppered. And if you gave up one goal, that was it. And now he seems like he's just a new man. And he's actually elevated his play, it seems like.
Absolutely. It's easy to lose track sometimes of what he does. There were plenty of times, whether it was the Cruz Azul game in Leagues Cup, whether it was Cincinnati in Open Cup, there was a massive save he made when it was still 2-1 in stoppage time. I think 2 minutes before they scored the tying goal. He still is there for that big save when you need him. But although, like you said, he's not having to make as many as he used to. And that boils down to this was a team that was not possession first before Tata. They'd maybe 25, 30% of the possession every game. Now it's the complete opposite. They're getting 65, 70% of the possession every game. So he's had to make fewer saves, but he still had to make some big ones. And he's risen to the occasion time and again. He was finalist for goalkeeper of the year last year in his rookie season. He will very much again be a finalist for that award again, possibly win it this year. So he cannot forget about him just because there's all the shiny new toys in the attack. But Drake Callender has still been outstanding.
Let's talk about the manager, Tata. We all love saying the name, but obviously he knows Messi. Messi loves him, knows him very well. But you see the difference since he's taken over the team. Like you see they're a more aggressive team, an exciting team to watch. Like that's the other thing. They're an exciting team to watch. Like we all love, down here they love the Dolphins offense. Well, you know what? Inter Miami's got an offense now, right, Joe?
Absolutely. And it's just obviously the global game, right? There's so many different ways you can play this game. You look to Asia and Japan, it's so methodical and they have their style. You look to South America and it's that flair, it's that possession, it's that up-tempo, just fun to watch style. You look at England and that's what kind of Phil Neville brought in. It's kind of that uglier, muddy it up, sit back and counter style. You look to some of the top teams in Africa.
Give Italy their love.
Yeah, Italy gets their love too. It's the defense first, and it's that style. Like there's all different styles all across the world. There's a million different ways you can play this game, and maybe the one that is the most appealing to the eye is that South American style, and that's what Tata brings. Look, the Venn diagram of people who previously coached Messi and previously coached at MLS is only one person, and that's Tata Martino. And that's why they went out and got him, and it's been the perfect fit. He's implemented that style. Obviously, you've got that South American flair in South Florida between the demographics, the people who are coming out to the games, the fans, and that's what they want to see. And he's brought that. It's a fun style. He can morph. This is probably getting really technical, but like he could play out of a 3-5-2. He could play out of a 4-3-3. He could play different ways. But whatever the shape is, you're still getting that same principles and the same style, and it's fun to watch. It's so different night and day to what it used to be.